someone wanted to spy on you, you probably picture some Hoodie Genius breaking into a server farm. Ooh. Real life is lazier. Real spying is usually one app you didn't notice, one remote help session you agreed to, one browser extension that looked normal for years, and suddenly your phone or laptop is a sensor, a microphone, a camera, a little diary of everything you type. So today we're doing the 5 most common ways attackers spy on regular people. And I'm going to keep it grounded: what it is, how it actually happens, what they can do with it, and a real-world example that hit the news. Also, I'm not going to teach anyone how to do this. The goal is to help you recognize the patterns so you don't become the easiest target in the room. All right, let's start with the one that's most personal and honestly most common: Stalkerware. Think spyware with a marketing department, if you will. This is the stuff sold as parental monitoring or employee tracking, but in practice, it's often used to quietly monitor a partner, an ex, or someone you're trying to control. Here's what it looks like. In real life, your phone still works, but someone else gets a feed of everything you do: where you go, who you text, sometimes your photos, sometimes even more depending on the app. And the way it happens is almost never some elite hacker breaking encryption. It's usually access. Someone had your phone for a few minutes, or they knew your PIN, or they talked you into unlocking it real quick. It's not a technical masterpiece, it's social engineering plus opportunity. What can they do with it? Well, 2 layers of damage. Layer 1, obvious surveillance, locating, tracking, message monitoring, call history, and in some cases, invasive access that can escalate into stalking or coercion. And then layer 2, the part nobody thinks about. These spyware companies are often pretty sloppy, and that means the data can leak. So even if the original spy was one person, the fallout can become people. Many people. One real-world example was SpyX, a consumer spyware operation. It was hit by a breach affecting records tied to close to 2 million people, with the breach dating back to June 2024 and later reported in 2025. And in January 2026, reporting said the founder of spyware maker PC Tattletale pled guilty in a rare U.S. stalker prosecution, a sign law enforcement is starting to treat this category as more than messy relationship drama. If your phone is your life, Stalkerware turns your life into a live stream. Next up are rats, and legitimate tools that are also used the wrong way. Now, when you hear rat, you're probably thinking of those little cousins of mice that nobody really likes, but it's actually short for remote access Trojan in the world of cybersecurity. They're things that can allow, well, remote access to your system. Now, a lot of these can sound sketch, but most of them are perfectly legitimate remote control software that gets abused. A rat is malware that basically gives an attacker a seat at your computer. Mouse, keyboard, files, screenshots, they can operate like they're you. And the scary part is attackers don't always need a special rat if they can trick you into installing a real remote tool, which is what happens to a lot of elderly people when it comes to those scammers you hear about. How does it happen? Usually one of 2 ways. 1, the classic phishing lane. Open this document, download this thing. You missed a payment. Here's the contract. You click once, you run something once, and the foothold is there. 2, the helpful technician lane. Tech support scams, fake pop-ups, fake bank warnings. They talk you into installing remote desktop software, and now you've basically invited them in. Kind of like vampires if you think about it. The FBI has warned about this exact pattern where victims get social engineered into downloading remote access tools and then lose serious money. What can attackers do with remote access? Well, anything that benefits from basically being you. They can watch what you do, grab files, steal browser sessions, and sometimes stack other surveillance tools on top. These are things like keyloggers, credential stealers, the works. One real-world example happened in February of 2024. The U.S. Department of Justice described the takedown of Warzone Rat, noting it could browse victim files, take screenshots, record keystrokes, steal credentials, and even watch victims through webcams, all without their permission. And remote access infrastructure is a huge target. CISA added a critical Screen Connect Auth bypass vulnerability to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog in February 2024, meaning it was seen being actively exploited. Remote access is convenient, and convenience is where attackers go shopping. Webcam and microphone spying are the third one we'll talk about. That one makes people physically cover their webcams. You see it a lot with stickers that are provided and things along those lines. Camera and microphone abuse is huge, but let's separate them into two things that get mixed up online a lot. A whole lot of webcam hacking emails are scams. They're meant to scare you. The message says, "I recorded you," and demands crypto and tries to rush you with fear. And yes, this bluff is extremely common. The Guardian covered the "hello pervert" style sextortion emails, and noted authorities have warned these are often just scare tactics rather than proof of real device compromise. But here's why the bluff works. The real version exists. If someone has remote access via a RAT or via something you installed, camera and mic permissions can be abused. Sometimes it's direct. Sometimes it's part of a broader intimidation campaign. Either way, the fear is a weapon. What can attackers do with it? Sometimes it's blackmail. Sometimes it's coercion. Sometimes it's just leverage. "I know where you live. I saw what you were doing. I know what you did last summer," right? Even when there's no real recording, the goal is to get you to panic and pay. And now scammers are making the bluff feel more real. In September 2024, Krebs on Security reported sextortion emails that didn't just claim webcam video, they included photos of the victim's home, pulled from online maps to make it feel personal and immediate. EFF also broke down this exact style of scam and why it's designed to trigger shame and urgency. And for the "this can be real" side, the DOJ's Warzone Rat description explicitly included watching victims through webcams as a capability. So the practical takeaway is this: don't let the scam email hijack your brain, but do take unexpected remote access seriously. Fourth are keyloggers. These are one of the oldest tricks in the book, still thriving because, well, it works. A keylogger is exactly what it sounds like. Software that records what you type. Passwords, messages, searches, notes. It turns your whole keyboard into a confession booth. And the reason it's so effective is that it doesn't need to defeat encryption. It doesn't need to crack your password. It just waits for you to type it. How does it get on your system? Well, there's a couple different ways. But usually, it's the same pipeline as a lot of malware. Phishing emails, fake invoices, booby trap downloads, or multi-stage infections where one piece of malware opens the door for the next. What can attackers do with keystrokes? Well, everything. They can take over your email, and once your email is theirs, they can reset your bank password, your social media password, your work password. That's not just spying, that's identity takeover. And even if they don't steal anything dramatic, they can quietly build a profile of you. What you're worried about, what you're planning, who you talk to, what you search online. Here's a real-world example for you. Fortinet published an analysis in August 2024 describing a phishing campaign delivering a new variant of snake keylogger via malicious Excel attachments. Fortinet later discussed the evolving snake keylogger ecosystem again in 2025, emphasizing its scale and continued detection. Keyloggers aren't flashy. They're not cool hacker malware. They're the digital equivalent of someone standing behind you, writing down everything you say, and then using it later. Browser extensions are number 5. And I know it sounds weird because we become so reliant on them, but they can read what you see and do. Because your browser isn't just how you browse anymore, it's where you bank, work, message, shop, and live. Here's the uncomfortable part. When an extension asks for a broad permission, the browser is literally telling you what's possible. Google's own Chrome Web Store permission explainer says your data on all the websites you visit. That can allow an extension to read, request, or modify data from every page you visit, including the sensitive stuff. Mozilla's support docs say the same idea in plain English. An extension with broad site access could read the content of pages you visit and data you enter, usernames and passwords. So how do these become spyware? 2 main ways. 1, you install something sketchy. 2, and this is kind of the scarier one, you install something normal. It behaves, gains trust, and then one day it changes. Maybe the developer gets phished. Maybe the extension gets sold. Maybe an update goes malicious. Here's a real-world example. Reuters reported a late December 2024 campaign where attackers hijacked companies' Chrome extensions, including Cyberhaven, through phishing and pushed malicious updates designed to steal cookies and authentication sessions. Carnegie Mellon summarized research saying 30-plus Chrome Web Store extensions were suspected malicious in that same time frame. with many tied to credential and session cookie theft after developer credentials were phished. And in December 2025, Malwarebytes reported sleeper extensions that behaved normally for years and then went rogue, affecting roughly 4.3 million devices. The line for the audience is simple. If an extension can read and change all your data on all websites, treat it like you're installing a stranger into your browser. So, there are the 5. Phone stalkerware, remote access rats, webcam and mic abuse, keyloggers, and malicious extensions. And notice the pattern. Attackers don't need genius. They need permission, access, or one bad click.